Am I the idiot for going against my mother's wishes? I, 25, have a little brother, Lucas, 13. I spent a lot of time with Lucas and he kinda became my best friend. We did everything together. The saddest day of my life was telling him that I was going away for college. Anyways, I don't really know what happened, but my brother started acting up after I moved away. My mom would call me frustrated every day begging me to come back because he was only happy when I'm around. So I did. I went back there every weekend and hung out with him, and his behavior improved, even when I wasn't around. His behavior began to spiral again when he got to middle school. I think me being pregnant played a role. My husband, baby, and I moved really close to them, 10 minutes walking distance. And will Lucas spend more time at my house than with my mother? He literally sleeps over at my house every weekend. My mother told me that she was grateful and even joked about how he should just move in with me full time. Anyways, my mom apparently took away Lucas's skateboard because he talked back to her. I found this ridiculous because he didn't talk back. He defended himself after my mom accused him of hiding her BF's things. He also told her BF to piss off after the guy kept calling him a spoiled brat. I was really upset and took Lucas skateboard shopping. My husband is even helping him customize/design it. It's still a work in progress, but my brother's really excited. My mother found out about this and called me. She told me that I can play pretend all I want, but I am not his mother and cannot undo her punishments. I told her that I wouldn't have to play pretend if she stopped worshipping her bully of a BF and actually paid attention to her son. She implied that I'm the AH for going against her wishes and that I'm encouraging my brother's behavior. She expects me to apologize and promise that I won't do this ever again. I don't think I'm the AH because the punishment is, again, ridiculous and my mom is prioritizing her BF's feelings. But I also understand that I'm not my brother's mother and I probably shouldn't have gone behind my mother's back. In a way, I am basically telling my brother that our mom's opinions don't matter. Am I the idiot? Now for comments before the update. You're the idiot. Your mother is the parent, not you. It is not your place to go against her wishes and undermine her authority. By buying your brother a skateboard after your mother took it away as punishment, you are teaching him that it is okay to disrespect his mother and ignore the consequences of his actions. It is not your responsibility to parent your brother, and you should not be interfering with your mother's decisions, not the idiot. Just be aware of your limitations. He is 13. That means your mom has complete control over him. All you can do is subvert her efforts. In effect, if you're not careful, you'll find yourself in a power struggle against your mom and your brother will suffer for it, and you'll lose the power struggle anyway. The best way to avoid this is to make sure you don't say or do anything to make your brother's situation worse. Update. One thing that a lot of people asked was why my brother couldn't come live with me, and after reading all those comments, I realized that my mother doesn't get to pick and choose when to be a parent. She can't put all the difficult things on me and then disregard everything I say. So I invited my mother out to dinner. But before I got into that, I first talked to my brother. I asked him how he would feel if he moved in with me and my family, and he was over the moon happy. I may have teared up a bit, lol. I know a lot of people in my position end up feeling a lot of resentment, which I understand 100%, but it would I do without my little brother. I honestly wish I would have taken him in the second I moved here. But back to my mother. She started crying after I made my offer, so I started to panic a little bit, but she told me it was fine. She said that deep in her heart she knows that this is what she deserves and that my little brother needs me more than he needs her. She also said it was a good idea to keep my brother and her BF separate. I was a bit alarmed by this but decided not to say anything to avoid a fight. We'll begin the whole moving out process after we settle things, and it shouldn't be too complicated considering everything, but I'm a nervous wreck. I also plan on speaking to a lawyer about everything just in case. My husband. OMG, he has been brilliant. I love this man so much and am so grateful I met a man that loves my little brother just as much as I do. My mother-in-law and father-in-law will be staying with us for a few days so that everything goes smoothly, and well, that's it. I know raising him full-time with a baby won't be easy considering my brother's behavior issues, but his therapist informed me that he's beginning to open up and is just happier in general due to moving in with me, so I'm holding on to that. I have faith that things will come into place. Thank you again for being so kind, not the idiot. What your mother said about keeping them separate is alarming. It does sound like there was some emotional abuse from the boyfriend and possibly your mom. Maybe limit contact for now until he's settled and has an open line to the therapist. Not the idiot. Make sure you get legal arrangements sorted You need signed and notarized documents from your mom giving you legal authority to take him in for medical treatment, if she won't just let you adopt him properly, and make legal/medical decisions for him. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for not letting my nephew, who recently came out, live with us after getting kicked out? My nephew, Tyler, is 18. He came out this week and his dad didn't take it well. My sister asked me if I would let him stay with me until her husband calmed down and let him move back in. I'm not close with my nephew due to past behavior and the fact that he's been a bully to my son, male 15, since they were kids. That was something we tried working out, but Tyler never seemed to learn, since my sister didn't do much because of her boys will be boys mentality. I limited interaction with them. Then last year Tyler antagonized my son on social media. Before that happened, my son went through something traumatic that I won't get into details here, but it left him with a lot of anxiety about going out. He made a celebratory post about going to the grocery store for the first time in months by himself without getting a panic attack. Tyler decided to call him a pussy and asked, "Why is he getting excited about something so stupid and not even a big deal?" I confronted Tyler directly because he knew what my son had experienced. He wasn't apologetic because according to him he was just jokingly giving him a hard time and didn't mean it in a bad way. This time I told my sister Tyler to stay away from my son completely. This new situation doesn't change the fact that I don't want Tyler near him, even with the promises that he won't do anything. I can't trust him. He's done it before when I'm not around until it pushes my son to finally tell me. That's why I'm apparently being an idiot to him given this difficult and emotional moment he's going through. My wife and I said we could pitch in for him to stay somewhere. Our other family lives far away and he's still in school, but not in our house. The reason she refuses this is because Tyler needs to be with family at the moment, and things are complicated at their house right now. She's trying to calm things down, but says it could be a long while since her husband doesn't want him back at all. If things had been different, I'd accept him into our home in a heartbeat. But not if it means putting my son in a position to be bullied. My mom understands how awful Tyler has been to my son, the way he's tormented him, and that we've tried to make things work. In this situation, she does think I'm not being a good uncle and an idiot because of what Tyler is currently going through. That it's more serious. They're both on us about this, but we have had to say no. Are we being assholes? Now for comments before the update. Not the idiot. You're protecting your kid from his bully. Not saying behaviors can't change, but considering your son's mental health at the current time, allowing your nephew to live with him would probably worsen his anxiety even if your nephew didn't mess with him. Not the idiot. Perhaps your sister should move her husband out of the house before he calms down. I empathize with the gay nephew. However, he uses the bullying to make him feel better about his situation, and you have to prioritize your son. Your sister won't understand this, as her priority is her son and his well-being rather than the issue that it'll cause your immediate family members. Update. Well, it appears I have been bamboozled, or almost at least, by my sister and Tyler. My mom claimed she had no idea and now she's angry at them too. Had some time this weekend to have a chat with my brother-in-law, Tyler's dad. Because honestly, despite Tyler's awful behavior, I was disgusted at any parent disowning their child over their sexuality. I called him to talk, not only to give him a piece of my mind but also understand why he's even being like this. Like I said in a previous comment, his late brother was gay, and he never had a problem with that. It was just a shock to see him have such a strong negative reaction. Or maybe he'd always been secretly against it, or now it's different because it's his own son. I don't know, that's why I called. He had no idea what I was talking about. So there really was more to the story than my sister was leading on. Tyler came out to them months ago, and him getting kicked out wasn't the reason at all. I'm super skeptical about this because to me it seemed like maybe he was trying to play innocent to avoid getting poop on, until he went and got my sister to tell him exactly what she told me. They got into a fight, then my sister finally told me no, her husband didn't kick Tyler out of the house for being gay. Since they were aware of it for months, he got into some trouble at school that he'd lied about, and while he was grounded for that, Tyler had taken his dad's car without permission and messed it up. He said it just seemed like one thing after another, especially the way he was acting with their other kids, which was the straw that broke the camel's back for him, and told Tyler to get out. After the whole thing, I was furious with my sister. She apologized a million times. Her only excuse was she was desperate for Tyler to have a place to stay and hoped the whole gay thing would make me reconsider until her husband cooled down and let Tyler come back. I've had a day to calm down and told my mom how my sister lied. Now at least we're more secure in our decision and don't feel like assholes at all for not letting him come with us. Tyler is at a friend's house now. Don't know if his dad plans to let him move back in, but one thing is certain, he's not staying here with us at all. Not for what he's done to my son, and especially not after knowing all the reasons why he's not with his parents anymore. That's their mess to deal with now. Thanks for your judgment and thoughts on Reddit. Just wanted to leave this new bit of info on here, not the idiot. Wow. I just read your original post, and now this. Your sister is a nut. You made the right call. I'm happy you took your son's well-being over the typical family card played by abusers. You're a good dad, not the idiot. Wow, so Tyler got in trouble at school and lied about it. So your sister punishes him and then proceeds to lie about the reason he got kicked out to manipulate you. I see where Tyler gets it from. Good on you for sticking to your guns. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for wanting my girlfriend to take a pregnancy test? I, male 26, and my girlfriend, female 25, have been together for 6 years. I think she's pregnant. I keep encouraging her to take a test and she refuses. For the past month or so she's been saying that she doesn't feel good. She's been extremely tired/fatigued, complaining of back pain and headaches, feeling bloated, and overall just not feeling well. I asked if she thought she should call her doctor, not necessarily because I thought she was pregnant, but just out of concern for her health in general. She said no and figured it was allergies or her period was supposed to start. Her period is very regular. I mean, I can damn near track it. She's said that she's always been this way and has rarely been more than a day or two off. So when she was supposed to start earlier this month, and didn't, she seemed a bit concerned. When she was a week late, I pointed out that she hadn't been feeling herself, and maybe she should take a pregnancy test. She said there was no way she was pregnant, and she was probably just re-regulating or something like that. I said taking a test wouldn't hurt just to be sure, but she wasn't having it, so I dropped it. She has a lot of fears and phobias, one of them being emetophobia, which is the fear of vomit. It's something she's struggled with since she was a kid. Usually even someone around her saying they feel sick will send her into full-blown panic mode. Thursday night she was supposed to visit her grandmother, so when I came home after work I was surprised to see her laying on the couch. I said, "You're home early," and she told me she didn't go. When I asked why, she told me that while she was driving home she felt nauseous and decided to not go. I asked if she was okay and questioned the nausea. She told me it was nothing, probably something she ate. Being nauseous for any reason would normally cause her to freak out, and now she's being so nonchalant about it. She again blew it off like it was nothing. I again mentioned taking a pregnancy test. She has all these symptoms. Why not just take a test and find out? If she is, she is. If she's not, she's not, and then we can put our minds at ease. We went back and forth a little bit. Basically her argument is that she's not pregnant. There's no way she's pregnant, and she wishes that I would just drop it. She stormed off to bed. I slept in the guest room, and that was that. She has been giving me the cold shoulder since Thursday night. We're usually great about communication. This is probably the worst argument we've ever had, and I don't know what to do. Do I apologize? I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, but maybe I should have just kept my mouth shut. I'm not trying to push her, I'm just worried. If she is pregnant, then she has to get the proper care. If she's not, then there's something else going on health-wise that she should get checked. Am I the idiot? Edit. I hit the character limit when I submitted this, and in my shortened version I guess I left some things out. But I need to clear this up. We've talked about kids before, and, as far as I know, we both want them. It was a conversation we had before we even started dating, but that's a story for another time, haha. Everything was fine before this. We both seem to be on the same page in terms of our future. If she is pregnant, she is not waiting until it's too late to do anything, thus trapping me in the relationship. I love her more than anything. I'm not leaving her whether she's pregnant or not. Now for comments before the update. No idiots here. You just want to take care of her and make sure she isn't sick, at its core. Honestly, it sounds like she is pregnant, how you are describing, but that is probably terrifying to her. Taking the test would force her to face that fear head-on, and it is something she will have to come to herself. Maybe reassuring her that you are there for her and will support her throughout if she is pregnant, or just addressing that you know it is scary for her would help ease her fears. She needs to feel secure and cared for in what is likely a very scary time, especially with how pregnancy out of wedlock is viewed for some families. Best of luck. Update. To answer everyone's question, yes, she is pregnant, and yes, it is mine. She's about 5 months along, and she and the baby are both doing great. After my original post, I was considering some things that people had said before. I thought it was best to drop it for the time being. We made up before getting into another big fight where we stopped speaking for a couple days. One night I came home from work to find her crying. She finally opened up and we were able to talk. As expected, she was scared and in denial. While marriage and kids were things we both agreed that we wanted, she wasn't in any hurry, so neither was I. However, we know 10 people who got married, engaged, or had kids within the past year. I think she was feeling some kind of pressure, and we discussed being less careful about birth control. I don't think either of us expected it to happen so fast, and admittedly we could have thought it through a bit more. Once faced with the possibility of being pregnant, she admitted that she didn't feel ready. But she was also concerned that if she wasn't pregnant, what was wrong with her, seeing that she definitely wasn't herself? She just didn't want to face either possibility, especially since at the time her dad was going through a cancer scare. We had a long talk about all of the what-ifs, her concerns, and her options. It put her at ease enough to call her doctor, who was very accommodating. We weren't surprised to find out that she was pregnant, but we were a little surprised to find that she was not nearly as far along as we expected. The doctor determined that the symptoms she was experiencing that had us convinced she was pregnant were actually due to stress and not taking care of herself properly. Unfortunately, the past few months have been really hard emotionally because of some family issues. But otherwise she feels good and is doing really well. We are nervous but excited, looking forward to the end of April. Not the idiot. Congratulations. Before I figured out I was a week late on my period, I was feeling so awful that one night I started bawling to my husband, "I have cancer. I know it. I am dying. Those hormones are no joke. It's going to be awesome. Enjoy the ride." Am I the idiot for telling my best friend his GF is disgusting? I, female 22, have been friends with Danny, male 22, since high school, and he recently moved in with his current GF Lucy, 22F. They had a housewarming party on Friday and Lucy spent most of the night dancing with her own friends who are very like her, excitable, extroverted E.G. and dragging Danny away from his conversations with us, his friends, to dance, even though he's more like us, introverted, not party animals. Later Danny was being quiet, so I asked if he was okay and he said just tired, but he just kept watching Lucy dancing and then said something in her ear the next time she came over, and she just shook her head and laughed at him. After she went back to her friends, I asked if it was bothering him how she was behaving, and he asked me to explain. I mentioned the attention-seeking dancing and the fact she was wearing something really revealing even though other guys were at this party. Danny said it didn't bother him, then sat with a moody face. At the end of the night, Lucy sat down with us and started chatting non-stop about how amazing the party had been. I pointed out jokingly Danny obviously wasn't enjoying himself since he looked miserable, and Danny told her I was worried he was jealous because of her outfit. Lucy ruffled his hair, which he hates, and said he was quiet because he loved her outfit so much he couldn't wait for us all to leave so he could drag her to bed. I thought that was completely inappropriate, and said to Danny in that case I'd leave if she was just going to be disgusting, and Lucy just laughed at me, so I did leave. Today Danny has messaged me saying Lucy wants an apology before I'm allowed back at their home, but when I asked if Lucy will apologize for making me uncomfortable, he said no, she doesn't have anything to be sorry about. I was genuinely only worried about my friend, but admit I could have just left without calling her disgusting, so am I the idiot? AITA, to clarify, I didn't say the comment about her clothes directly to Lucy. I asked Danny once, then never mentioned it again. I asked him because I know in the past he's said anything overly sexual makes him uncomfortable. He's not the kind of guy who makes innuendos or anything. Also, I'm in no way jealous of Lucy. She's the opposite of how I'd want to be, which is fine. People can be who they want. And Danny and I already tried dating years ago, but the spark wasn't there, and it was uncomfortable after we tried being intimate, and we both agreed we were better as completely platonic friends now. For a few comments before the update. You're the idiot. Your friend literally told you that he wasn't bothered, but you still felt offended. It's giving jealousy. And felt compelled to say something despite both of them being fine with it. And if he wasn't fine with it, it still wasn't your business, because if he wanted you to know, he would have told you. You didn't jokingly point it out, you said it because you wanted how you felt to be known. Comment 2. My husband is an extrovert. I'm an introvert. We've been married 10 years. He sings karaoke. I just sit at the bar with my crochet. He chats with everyone. I don't. She was just dancing and having fun. And you slut-shamed her with that outfit comment. You didn't ask if he was uncomfortable being dragged onto the dance floor. You made it all about Lucy and her behavior. You're an idiot. BTW, he was uncomfortable because of you. You shamed his GF for nothing. Now, for the update. Okay, I completely accept I was an idiot. I don't know if anyone wants an update since I seem to be Reddit's villain of the week. Before I continue with the update, I'd just like to clarify, someone DM'd me saying Danny posted an update that Lucy cheated on him. I don't know if Danny even has a Reddit, and while I haven't been able to find the post myself, I can confirm that's not true. Someone is lying to cause further issues. Anyway, I texted Danny and asked if I could sit down with him and Lucy to talk. They agreed and we met for coffee. I emphatically apologized to Lucy and then to Danny. We spoke in detail about how in the past Danny has been similar to me in his attitude towards sex/PDA etc. Not just our awkward high school fling, but every relationship he's had since, and how he used to be insecure when his ex-girlfriends did anything that made him jealous. Over the years I've become really protective of him because he got hurt a lot. Danny explained that Lucy has brought him out of his shell and he's much more outgoing now, the opposite of how our friend group has just kind of always been. But his social battery does die a lot quicker than hers, which she is understanding of. I haven't seen much of Danny since he and Lucy began dating in March last year. Not because of Lucy, but we've all been busy with college and jobs. We still text all the time, and he's the same as always in that regard. So their party was my first look at the new Danny, and I think I obviously didn't cope well with the change since I hadn't been around to see it happen gradually, so to me it seemed sudden. I worried Danny was unhappy because not long ago he would have been miserable and jealous at a party like that, and in that kind of relationship. I think throughout the night I convinced myself Lucy was hurting him and wound myself up in self-righteousness, so by the end of the night when Lucy made her comment I thought she was just trying to antagonize me and I wrongly snapped. To cut a long story short, me and Danny are fine. Danny and Lucy are fine. Me and Lucy are going to hang out to get to know each other better. She does seem really nice and I feel horrible for ending her party on such a bad note. Comment 1. You did well to meet with them. By your description of the conversation, you still came off as trying to rationalize your rudeness, but most of us do that, I suppose. You're still young. And you're in love with Danny. Things will be strained until you can see that. Then they'll be painful. Comment 2. Not the idiot. It's understandable that you were concerned about your friend's well-being and wanted to express your worries. Communication is important in any friendship, and it's not wrong to express your feelings, especially if it comes from a place of genuine concern. While the choice of words might not have been the best, your intentions were in the right place. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not wanting to help pay for my child's university fees? It's been one hell of a month, so some things I say might not make sense. I, male 40, recently found out that I have a child, who we'll call Jane, 18F. I wasn't convinced at first, but everything checked out. When she came to me, she told me that she just wanted to get to know her father. I wasn't really interested in a relationship, but felt it would be cruel and unnecessary to deny her this. We talked for a while and I didn't really say much, but it was interesting. So after we talked for a while, I asked about her mother, Grace, female 40, and she gives me her number. I really didn't want to have to call her, but I needed answers. So Grace and I decided to meet up at a local coffee shop. We had some small talk for a while before I asked her why she never told me. Silence. I ask again. Silence. I asked a third time, and she told me that she just didn't want anything to do with and wanted to get back at me. I point out that all she did was deprive the child of a father. She says she does. I asked her when she told Jane. She says at age 12. So I get confused and am wondering why she only contacts me now. So I asked her why. Grace says that she was angry that I wasn't present in her life. We talk some more about life before we say goodbye and go our separate ways. I don't ask Jane why she didn't call sooner because she was a hurting teen and that's life. So Jane and I spend the next week bonding. Then she sits down and asks to talk. I say sure and sit down. Then she goes on to explain about how difficult her life was living in a single-parent household and how money was always tight. Long story short, she asks me to pay for her university fees. Now I am well off enough to pay for it without struggle. So I asked to see her grades, and to be truly honest, it's meh. Not bad, but nothing to give a second look. I tell her that I'll think about it, and she says thank you. So here's where I might be the age. I don't want to pay for the fees because, in reality, she is just a stranger with my DNA. And I feel like Jane might just be using me. I mean, she has had 6 years to form a relationship with me and is only doing now that she needs something. I just want to wash my hands clean of her and Grace and move on with my life. I don't want Jane to think I'm her financial lifeline or anything like that. So Reddit, am I the idiot? Edit to add some stuff because of the comments. 1. I did a DNA test. It was what she wanted me to do to prove herself. 2. Child support laws are different in my country in the sense that A. You can't claim unclaimed child support if you had the option to claim it. B. Child support can't be settled after 18 unless the father knowingly disappeared, and that would take months to process, let alone prove. 3. Jane had the ability to contact me. I don't know how much influence her mother had on her choice, but I do know that I was a dial away. 4. I was never mad at Jane for not contacting me. I knew that she was a hurting teen who doesn't know her father and could be scared to do so. I was confused at the moment. Now for a few comments before the update. No idiots here. She is a kid who just met her dad. University is the biggest thing on her mind, and she says that dad has funds, so why not ask? I wouldn't if I was her, but I get it. And you're not the A for thinking, this is weird. If it was a year or two from now after y'all have caught up and formed a bond. It also sucks as you didn't get a shot but may have just gained a daughter. If it was me, I would have said let's reset and not have this conversation now as we are strangers. Let's become familiar and we can talk way down the road on this topic. Comment 2, not the idiot. And you are totally right, this is not about a relationship with you, but with your money. Now for the update. So over the past few days I've been taking a bit of time to myself to think about the situation. I realized that I would lose nothing by helping Jane, and it would be more of an investment than anything. I also realized that I got too stuck on the principle of the matter and whether or not Jane's intentions were purely for the relationship, when in reality I wasn't really a person who was yearning for that relationship, something that a lot of people in the comments noticed. 2 days later I called Jane and asked to meet at noon. She said yes. When we meet I put it to her straight. I told her I would pay for only if her grades would improve. I don't expect her to be top of the class, but they should be on an upwards trajectory. The next thing I told her was that she has the choice to have a relationship or not. I told her that I was helping her so that she would have the best chance to succeed in life, and so that she would not blame me if she ever failed in life. It ultimately doesn't change much in my life if I do or don't have the relationship. She didn't say if she did or didn't want to have a relationship. So I feel quite satisfied and happy with the outcome of the situation. I think it's a win-win situation for both sides. Thank you for the advice. Comment 1. It annoys me that you have been a parent for like 5 minutes and are already obsessed with grades. Plenty of people get into university on A, B and some C's, graduate with a lower or upper second and go on to have great careers. And guess what, they aren't miserable all through school and uni trying to force their grades up under threat of financial retaliation from their parents. Comment 2. That's great you have decided to help Jane. Because I honestly thought you're the idiot. Jane didn't ask to be born, and Grace didn't make her by herself. Even if Grace didn't tell you, she still didn't make her by herself. On top of that, Jane grew up without any support, financial or emotional, from you. Just because she is 18 and child support laws are different in your country doesn't mean you don't have any obligations or responsibilities. She probably grew up without, well, you were pretty well off, and just because she is a stranger means nothing. She is still your daughter that you made. You didn't contribute to her upbringing, then put the burden of no contact on a teenager. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not letting anyone share my table at the park? I work in a large city. When it's nice out, I usually like to eat lunch at a park near my office. It is a decent-sized park with an ample amount of tables that anyone can use. On one particular lunch break, it was very nice out and the park was particularly crowded. I had to circle the park for a while before finding a free table. I sat and started to eat my lunch. My lunch spread and my handbag took up the majority of the table. A few minutes went by and a woman approached me, asking if she could sit. I said she could take a chair. It turned out I'd misunderstood her, and she wanted to share the table. I was taken aback, since of all the lunch breaks I spent sitting by myself in this park, this was the first time I'd ever been asked to share a table. The table, like the majority of tables around the park, was small, only around 2 feet across. One would see 2 to 3 friends/coworkers share tables, but there wasn't much personal space, and I really didn't want to share with a stranger. I apologized and said I really preferred to eat alone. She looked dejected and left. Only a few minutes later, a man approached me, asking to share the table. I said sorry, I wanted to eat alone. He proceeded to put his belongings down anyway, saying that his asking was only a courtesy and he couldn't believe I actually said no. I was pissed and I told him that he could do what I did in Circle Park till a table opened up. He called me a B****ch and went off on me saying he just needed the table for a minute to fix his belongings. I went silent, wanting this interaction to end. He ended up apologizing to me, and I said sorry as well, just to get him to leave me alone. Am I the idiot for not wanting to share my table with strangers? I'd always share a table at a cafe with only a few tables, or if the tables were large, but in this situation I think I'm entitled to my personal space. This park has approximately 100 tables. One was bound to free up for them. If not, there are more tables a few blocks over. There's no updates, so here's the comments. Not the idiot. There's seating etiquette in public spaces that seems to be common enough. Benches you share. Tables, regardless of size, are basically first come, first take. Certainly there's nothing wrong with asking someone to share, but there's nothing wrong with them saying no. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Public park means anyone can sit next to you, opposite you. If you want to be alone, find a chair or sit on the grass. Am I the idiot for leaving a Starbucks midway through an intervention about me? So I'm male 21, and I've been kicked out of my friend group. To give some context, I'd been in this friend group since high school around 2018 to 2019 and have been friends with 2 of them since freshman year. Throughout the years I've been with them, they've noticed a lot of little toxic traits I've had, and didn't really tell me a lot of them. So around the end of March, beginning of April, they started avoiding me and just telling me that they're too busy to hang out. For 2 weeks things were dead silent with me and them. I actually thought they were just too busy to hang out, but they were actually planning to talk to me about my problems with an intervention. After 2 weeks, they sent me a text saying to meet at this Starbucks with the specific address of it, and at 4. So I asked if we weren't friends, because they were avoiding me, and they only replied with, "We need to talk." So I did, and all of them were sitting at a table in the middle of the Starbucks waiting for me. Once I sat down, they started to list out the problems they've had with me, like not being open enough with my feelings, having double standards with touching things, or zoning out when I'm not in the conversations and not to join them. I'm not going to lie, I did feel uncomfortable talking about issues about me in public. I didn't realize these problems, but after saying them, I really feel like a jerk once seeing it. Now here's where I feel like I would be the idiot in the situation and further. Midway through them talking, I just straight up left because I felt hurt and didn't want to continue that conversation. Right now I'm slowly trying to fix the issue one at a time so new people I meet won't deal with it. Another 2 weeks went by, and I felt terrible about how I was to them in general. One friend that knew the group and my situation, that friend told me that the friend group is still willing to be friends. After feeling bad about myself, I tried to text one of my friends to set up a talk. I asked if it was fine to meet up and talk at his or my place. He replied by saying he would rather talk at Starbucks or coffee places, and I tried to compromise with a park not too far from our places. He didn't like the compromise, saying that he didn't feel safe or comfortable talking to me unless it's somewhere he likes and that it wasn't for negotiation. For me, I told him I didn't feel comfortable to talk in a public space like a coffee shop, and I wouldn't like to be in the same situation as before. Then it got a little emotional for me that I won't go into or repeat. I still wanted to be friends with one other person in the group. So I tried to message them and he responded by basically saying that, "If you want to apologize, you have to say sorry to everyone in the group. You ended our friendship the moment you left Starbucks." So far that's where my story with my ex-friends is at. Am I the idiot for being the start and end of my situation? Edit 1. When I said touching stuff, it meant grabbing a book off the shelf, borrowing a hammer, etc. without permission. Edit 2. One of the bigger reasons why I posted here was because I don't understand why I'm unsafe to them. I've never physically harmed them, yelled at them angrily, nor attacked them with personal insults. Now for a few comments before the update. I have never in my life heard of a friend intervention where a group sits another friend down to just point out a bunch of flaws? I'm lost. Is this a thing? Not the idiot. Because what the heck? Comment 2. The whole thing sounds kind of like a blind side. I would hardly even call it an intervention. An intervention would be if you were doing something, X drugs, and the people care about you and want you to get better. What they did was gossip behind your back, isolate you, and gang up on you in a place where you were uncomfortable. It would have been better to bring up the things that were bothering them at someone's house or something like that, where you were comfortable to have a discussion. not the idiot. In my opinion. Now for the update. So it's been about a week or so since my post, and I wanted to give some updates and good news. Before that, I wanted to say thanks to all the comments from before. I've felt like poop for the whole month of April, and it helped that there were people telling me I'm not poop. I've listened to a lot of the comments, and most of them just say cut them off and move on, so I am. First thing is that, I've sent a link of my post to the friend group, to give them my perspective of things. I've understood that I've unintentionally made them feel uncomfortable during times. I don't know if I understand their whole perspective, but thanks to that I know myself a bit more in social situations. They've probably moved on from me, but I just wanted to say some sort of goodbye. Now I block them so I can move on and find others that will like me for me. Along with that, I know that I'm gonna have some trust issues and overthink things in the long run. Secondly, I've taken some tests, like the Rhodes test, and scored a 149, so I probably have some neurodiversity. I've gone ahead and scheduled an ADHD assessment, and will be taking it in the next coming week. With this comes the good news for me. I've been hanging out with an online friend who I've known for a long while and actually lives like 15 minutes away from me. Let's call him Bob, and if you're reading this, thanks man. I told Bob my situation with the friend group and he has helped me emotionally with it without me feeling poop about the situation. During this time, I've made him uncomfortable once by accident with me blurting my mouth. He did let me know how he felt, so I apologized, told him it won't happen again, and I'm working on these things. I also got him an Anime Expo badge and a concert ticket to join me. The AX badge and concert ticket was originally gonna be for the friend who said that he was unsafe with me. I was gonna surprise him with it as an early birthday present before what went down. I know it's a bit soon to give away the stuff, but if I can find anyone soon. Anyways, I'm grateful for the advice you all gave to me. I do understand that there are some things that need to be fixed. Some of the things said during the intervention just need to be ignored, and some things that I need to move on from. I'm mainly thankful that you guys helped me understand myself a little more, like my neurodiversity. Also sorry that this is a long post, I just like to talk a lot. But yeah, if anyone has extra questions, I'll try to answer them as best as I can. I hope everyone has a great day and good friendships that never end. Comment 1, not the idiot. An intervention at a Starbucks? That's not how interventions work. They should have approached you privately and respectfully discussed their concerns. Leaving midway was understandable given the uncomfortable situation. It's good that you're working on self-improvement and finding supportive friends. Move on from the toxic friend group and focus on positive relationships. Comment 2. OP, I gotta say, you handled this one like a champ. My friends in college had a fake-ass intervention for me the day before my 21st birthday. I spent my whole birthday crying. When my friends left my house that day, they stopped being my friends. It took me a while, but I found my people in the end. You'll get there. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for showing favoritism for my daughter and financially hurting my son? My ex-wife, female 36, and I, male 36, have been divorced for 7 years now. We have twins, both 17 My wife and I are the stereotype of high school sweethearts. I'm more of a geek. She was a cheerleader. My son takes after my wife and my daughter takes after me. When they were younger, I gave them the option of allowance. They could either spend the money on what they wanted to, or I could walk them through investments and savings. My wife was all for this at that time. We explained that they each have a set amount of money that we have put away for future schooling as well as a car fund. At first, both of my kids decided to invest in it, and I started to show them how to and the risk involved. My son put his into a very risky investment against my advice, and ended up losing it and decided not to do it anymore within a few weeks. My daughter started off rough but quickly got the hang of it, playing with different investments and companies. She has been in the positive most weeks. The issue is that due to this, my daughter has saved up more money than her brother. She also likes to spend most of her time over at my house versus my son over at my ex-wife's house. My daughter's interests are more minimalistic when it comes to most things and does not spend a lot of money. She will when she finds things she likes. She is not into fashion, rarely puts on makeup. When she does, it is very light, bought a used but nice car, etc. They just got their acceptance letters for college, and she will be able to pick any of her choices due to grades and her savings plus our contributions. My son, on the other hand, spends most of his money when he gets it. Always has new clothes constantly, bunch of shoes, bought a new, very expensive car with payments, goes out all the time, and spends everything he gets. My son is upset because he can't go to the college he wants because he would need to get a loan, and with what I make, he doesn't qualify for much. My ex says I need to stop favoring my daughter and financially hurting my son and just paying for his college. Among other things. Her and her side of the family are all calling me an AH for not paying. Because you easily could. I told them that they had a choice when he was younger, and he didn't listen. I also pointed out the fact that if he had saved his money, he would have also been able to go where he wanted. He needed to get a job to cover costs if he wanted to go. And life was about choices. TLDR, my daughter is more like me, a geek. My son is like my ex-wife, popular and materialistic. Gave them an allowance and the opportunity to invest and save. Only my daughter did, and now my son and family are mad that I'm not giving him more money and favoring my daughter. Early AITA. I did keep asking him to try again throughout the years. But he didn't care. I gave up almost 2 years ago when he said he wanted to live almost full-time at his mom's house. We had an argument that made me back off. I didn't just stop and drop it when he was really young. Edit 2. We did not give him his college fund. He has enough money in his college fund that he can attend a community college for 4 years or a good college for 2, nothing fancy or big. The money that was invested was an allowance. Or spare money. My daughter would use bidet money, Christmas money, allowance, or any extra chore money. His fund was never used in any way other than for school. It is safe and locked up. Allowance was free to use money. The school and car fund were separate and not accessible by the kids. I'm not bragging, but I could send them to the best colleges for as many years as they want. And fund their lives comfortably. Edit. Question on what I meant by. Among other things. Basically, unlimited schooling, backpacking trips across Asia, paying his car off, lodging near campus, and living money were all brought up. Most by my ex-wife. She has not put anything towards these funds. Now for a few comments before the update. You're the idiot. I doubt this will be a popular opinion, but I think you're an idiot in general. Right now you have a choice of helping your kid get a start on his adult life, and you're using it to make some sort of ideological point instead of helping him. Yes, we can say that the actual child should have made better financial choices. But right now you're going for the win. The kid like you is the winner while the one like your ex gets to work. It is 2023. How much does he need to work to pay for school? And thanks to your income he can't even get financial aid. Make it up to your daughter, but help your son succeed in life by helping him with college. It seems like you can afford it, you just want to be right instead. Comment 2, not the idiot. If your ex literally said you're favoring your daughter, when she had the same choices as the son, and financially hurting your son, who, again, had the same choices, then we see who's really got a favorite here. Had the tables been turned, I suspect she wouldn't be as concerned about the daughter who's not as much like her. If mom and her side of the family wants to subsidize her favorite, then they are free to do so. Now for the update. So my original Am I the Idiot was about showing favoritism for my daughter and financially hurting my son. The comments went way far from that topic. It was interesting for me. For the people who sent me aggressive messages, not cool. Some questions to be addressed. 1. Why would I just not pay for everything? I am trying to teach my kids about financial responsibility. Money has value, and nothing is given without work. I bet if my son posted his view, you would call him entitled age. 2. But they were so young when they started gambling with money in the stock market. True. But they have grown up since then. Yes, they are still kids. But maturity does not just develop at 25 like some people on here think. 3. You gave them their college fund to waste. No. College fund has always been secured and untouched unless I was putting money in it. They used allowance money. 3. Why are you not giving him a good start in life? He has a better start than the majority of people. So I talked to my daughter. She said she would be upset if I just gave him the money. She worked hard and values her time and effort. I agreed that would be a bad idea. But we came up with 3 options. I added a 4th, to present him/my ex-wife. All of them had rules attached, and the same amount would be given to my daughter. Rules, grades, housing rules, and behavior 1. He sells his car and some of his shoe collections to save money and put it towards the fund, and I will help him again to make passive income. 2. He picks a lower college that is more cost-effective but still a good school. He gets a job, and I will match his pay. 3. I just gave him the money. But as a loan. 0% interest. but he has to pay back in a timely manner. Money, if paid back, will go back to him in the future. Down payment or wedding or something for ex and family put in the difference in the account. I laid it all out for him. My ex and him did not like it, so I asked my ex why she is pushing this so much, and why she has not put any money into the account since we originally opened it. There were excuses, and she finally said, "I have to save money for my daughter 6 almost 7F. Unless you want to set up a fund for her as well." I am setting things up with my youngest daughter, female 3, the same way I did with my twins. I'm not doing it for her daughter, anyway. I have given him a few weeks to figure out what he wants. He acknowledged that I was right. He was unfair to his sister about the way he went about things and will do better in the future. He picked a modified version of option 2. He is still going to his number 4 pick, is looking for a job, sold some shoes, and said he will be responsible for housing costs. He apologized to me and his sister. I hope he keeps working hard towards his goals. Comment 1. Yeah. It was clear, even from the other posts, that not the idiot. You want your kids to be self-sufficient, and just giving him money without working for it won't teach him anything, otherwise he's going to expect you to bail him out, and it definitely isn't fair for either one of your daughters. Especially your 17 years old, cause she worked really, really hard. And good for her. Why people didn't see that in the other post. Comment 2. Good job on being a reliable father, and good job to your son on growing up pretty quickly since your last post. Here's to hoping the lesson sticks. Nothing wrong with spending and enjoying your money. You can't take it with you, but frivolity equals destitution if you ain't already rich.